Good afternoon, team, and welcome to today's edition of the Pool Guy. All right, we are on the river. We're going to work on the motivators today. Motivators. We're going to motivate the river to move. If you can see, it's flowing pretty good, actually. But we want to make it run really good. So, we got to do some maintenance to these river flows. Once again, these are called river flows. There's the little ID there. I'm going to put a link to their website. They actually make residential ones too. They're like this, but they're a little bit smaller. And what it does is, you see the shaft here? This shaft goes on the bottom of that motor using a rubber coupling. And then this big, large shaft goes down to an impeller. It's basically, a propeller. It's like a boat propeller. When we get it open, you'll see how deep it is down there. Now, the cool thing about these is they're really simple. And basically what they do, all they do is move water. They have no head pressure. They really don't make anything too big. And they're pretty cool. They're really simple. What we've continued to have issues with is that bearing that's down there, which is this one right here. I think we've been using the wrong grease. So, of course, they're not, sometimes they're non-compatible. And I think that's what we've been doing. We've been using the wrong grease, so we're cooking the bearings on these pretty bad. So we've got the correct grease and we put auto greasers on. I have an auto greaser on this one, and as you can see, but that grease is blue. It's the grease we typically use for all of our motors, all our electric motors. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work well with this particular bearing. So talk to the manufacturer. It's my fault. We've actually had this information for a while, but I kept thinking, dude, this grease is good. It's a high temp grease. It's worked perfect, but for that particular bearing, it looks not to be well. So we're going to take this apart and get a new one in. And then what we'll do is I'm going to show you what we got to do to repair all this. I'm going to take it to the back, put it on the vise, and get to work. Join me. see I got it out. Look down there. All it is that point right there where the shaft goes into, the end of this shaft right there. Into that shaft. And then there's a mechanical seal, just like usual. But you can see it's pretty eaten up. Pretty bad. So we've got replacement blocks right here as well. And then replacement couplers as well. So we're going to get this off, get on the new one, and get ready to go. Team, you can just see we just turned her on. Man, look how much dirt was in it. Look how much dirt was in it. Woo! But it's flowing beautifully now. So legend here is it's got a bleeder valve here. So just like a regular pump, we gotta purge it, right? But she's all good to go now. We're gonna go and work on the shaft. But this one is good to go. We'll go ahead and run it for the rest of the day. Make sure she's all good to go. We'll see you in the back. Welcome, team. Welcome to the shop. Today, another treat especial. All right. If you know who I'm copying, I think you should put it in the comments. Because me and Legend back here, we watch him a lot, don't we? All right. So if you know who it is, few people have already realized that I watch that show or watch his channel. Bigger the guy, better the job. All right. Here we are. We're in the back. We're in the shop. So we got to take the bearing off. I'm going to start with this mechanical seal. Got to pull this back, get the plate off, which is connected to the bearing through this block right here. Once we get that off, most likely going to have to break the bearing off and then cut it off, which is typically what we've been having to do with these. It's cast iron. It's going to rust in this water, in this environment. So once we get it off, we'll get a clean shaft, get it put back on. Got brand new parts sitting right there for it. Here we go. right, team.
Look, see if I get
The legend back here has helped me out, and of course I've got the old man making fun of me. However, we if you got to see in the time lapse, we had to cut it off. It was pretty good. It was pretty in there. So yeah, that's the bearing. That's the race for the interior of the bearing. But that's it. It's pretty bad. So to recap what we did: brand new seal. It's a new block right there, bearing block, bearing. New greaser with a correct grease because I suck at correct grease, and we had to put a new retainer ring in there for it. But yeah, we're about to stab this one in. The impeller looks pretty good. You can see the shaft's pretty eaten up here. We'll keep an eye on that. And then we always clean these out. There gets trash gets built up in there. But you can see where it sits. This is about the bottom of the shaft where it sits on. It doesn't actually go all the way to the bottom. It just sits there. It floats. You can see this is nice and clean. It sits all right here.